Hi, I'm Raleigh Van Fossen, Director of Economic Development and Planning for the City of Lansing. Prior to that, I was the Executive Director at Capital Area Housing Partnership, whose project we're standing in front of, which is the transformation of the former Walter French Junior High School. Back in December of 2017, Capital Area Housing Partnership took this property on as a donation from its previous owner with a massive undertaking of what to do here at one of the main intersections in the city of Lansing, which is Mount Hope and Cedar.
Hi there, I'm Emma Henry. I'm the Executive Director of Capital Area Housing Partnership. We're here at the Walter French Academy. This is an old school building built in 1925 that Capital Area Housing Partnership has been renovating over the past year or so. The Capital Area Housing Partnership is a local nonprofit. We are focused on housing education, financial resources, and making sure that Lansing is a diverse and welcoming place to live.
Throughout today's episode, you're going to see both Mayor Schor as well as other city representatives take former Labor Secretary Tom Perez through a tour of the building to see some of the transformational impact that a project such as the Walter French will have right here for the City of Lansing resident. So come along with me this morning as we join Mayor Schor, members of Capital Area Housing Partnership, Tom Perez, and others as we get a firsthand look inside of what's going on here at Walter French.
One thing I learned a long time ago, and you've all learned it obviously, is you got to meet people where they are.
Absolutely.
And it's great to provide housing, and this is essential. This is exciting. At the same time, if they can't get access to affordable childcare, then we are not going to meet them where they are.
Absolutely.
And,
in mid-Michigan, there's about 56% more children that need childcare than spots are available. So being able to offer 100 more spots, it's amazing.
well, we know how to reduce childhood poverty because we did it, but unfortunately, we didn't have a dance party or anything. The child care tax credit permanent. And that's, if you ask the Vice President and the President, like, what are their top 5 frustrations from the first 4 years, one of the answers to that would be the failure to make permanent child care tax credit. And when you know, like, when you have such compelling evidence of its success, but you can't muster the political will on the side of the Republicans to do something about it, it's just colossally frustrating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's something that we talk about a lot.
It's definitely a start.
That's right. Hey, we're doing what we can in Lansing, right?
That's right. That's right. Regardless. That's right.
This is great.
Yeah.
Team effort.
That's right.
I'm glad to see some federal skin in the game.
Absolutely. But wouldn't have, again, this doesn't even come close without the federal skin in the game. So we're going to follow you, Emma.
Okay, I'll go.
Historic, right? That's right. Got to keep it the way it was.
Yeah, well, I'll have to find a water fountain.
Right?
Somewhere.
This is a barrier-free unit, which is like, so we've got 2 or 3 bathrooms, roll-in tubs you can walk in there.
Yeah. Like, they're doing 4388, so that's
One of the things about this like just to wind it with a larger living area. With the 2 and 3 bedrooms, it was some of that flex space to that room. But the 1 bedroom create the studios, all big windows, looking up one of our corridors.
So we're right now standing still on the first floor in what remains still an unfinished unit, but eventually will be able to be a place for somebody to call home. This is a 1-bedroom apartment. And what's interesting and unique about this building is there's going to be 3 stories of residential uses. The first, second, and third floor will all have apartments spanning from a variety of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and a handful of 3 bedrooms. Square footage is going to range anywhere from around 600 square feet on the lower end all the way to some of those 3-bedroom units tapping out at 1,000 to 1,100 square feet. So you can get a sense of how big these units will be offering, very comparable to the current market being here in the mid-Michigan region, and making it a really exciting opportunity for folks and families to call Walter French home. When they started construction,
oh boy. You're bringing back really changed a lot.
Yes, that's right.
Perfect example where sometimes we don't agree with the person. And they were adamant with the housing partnership preserve the front of the stage. So that's why you see it leveled out, and then it stops about 4 feet, and then there's called the moat. and there's now a moat so that we can see the front of the stage. Cap had asked to go all the way to the stage and preserve the wood features around it, bring back maybe the speaker boxes and so forth. We lost that battle, so we preserved the front of the stage for the first 5 years of compliance. We're now standing in what was once the auditorium, and you can hear the active construction work going on. This is considered phase 2 of the development, being that it's the commercial side. So this place is being renovated as the future home of Capital Area Housing Partnership, as well as Monarch Childcare. So we're on the second floor of the building to kind of give you its location. And what was once here and previous was the school's auditorium. This is where they did different types of school plays, different types of school-wide meetings, and so forth. But now it's being turned into a meeting place for the nonprofit and childcare facility to be able to use. It could also be home to a future home of a different office as well in the future. But what's unique about this and what's going to be maintained is the stage that you see behind me. One of the items that the National Park Service was adamant that stayed was paying homage to the archway of the school stage as well as the front facade so that you can see some of that original woodwork when you come in here once it's open. What's really exciting though for the developers, they had to kind of overcome that slanted auditorium floor that was once here before. If you can think about when you grew up in the school you may have been in, a lot of those auditorium floors are on a slant, and that helps with the type of seating that they can then offer. The developer, that wasn't needed, and so they had to work with their architect and general contractor to raise the floor. So we're now standing on a flat floor surface that really makes it more universal in terms of its use for the commercial space moving forward.
So with the State Housing Preservation and National Park Service, we'll be putting in an engineered wood floor. So you'll still have the look of wood floor. You'll still know that you're in a gym. The offices will be below the windows, so we're not building up to the top. You'll walk in and you'll still feel like you're in a gym space.
I just love this. You may remember this from tours in past because there used to be an addition.
Yeah.
And covered all of these windows. They added, the school district added another gym in the 50s.
Yeah.
And when these open, I mean,
That's where the fire was, right? The fire was in there.
And you can see it right behind those guys. See where that floor had been removed?
That was part of the fire. Well, welcome everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the tour. We have with us former secretary and now senior White House advisor and intergovernmental relations director Tom Perez. And then we've got our capital area housing, and we've got, I don't know the name of what the daycare is going to be called.
The new daycare will be called Monarch Early Learning Center.
Monarch Early Learning Center. So you all got to walk it. Any questions from the media for Tom or for anyone here?
Well, Mayor, I just want to say something to you, if I could, and
Please.
to your team. I'm honored to be here, and the American Rescue Plan is all about reconnecting communities, expanding opportunity, and it was really a relationship of trust with local governments, state governments, and nonprofit partners. Because we didn't come here and tell you, here's a major amount of money, and you got to do A, B, C, and D. We trusted you to figure out what was best for the community. And in communities across the country, what I've seen is housing, especially for low and moderate income residents. That's been a major point of concern and a major point of investment. And what's wonderful about this is you understand that the people who are going to be applying and living here, you got to meet them where they are. And if you don't have housing, if you have housing and you don't have childcare nearby, you're not going to solve the problem for so many families. And so I appreciate your understanding of family dynamic. And the American Rescue Plan and the infrastructure bill, we can talk all about the unprecedented level of investment. But what's far more compelling is to talk about the people you serve. And that's what it's all about. Lansing residents who are going to be able to be near a bus line if they're transit dependent. They're going to, be close by, not just close by, but daycare on site.
Yeah.
You can't get much better than that. And that's what it's all about, making sure we continue these investments to help communities.
Well, honestly, we coming out of a pandemic, when the Rescue Plan Act passed, I was very involved with the Conference of Mayors. and pushing, and the president and the vice president, they really believed in us. We've been on calls with President Biden. It feels like 2-3 times a year he gets on with the mayors, and he talks about how important local government is. He always jokes that the mayor is the hardest job in the world, and none of us disagree with him. But coming out of that pandemic, the city was struggling. We could have really taken a dive, but President Biden and Vice President Harris, Congresswoman Slotkin, Senators Peters and Stabenow, they all really jumped in and said, we need to get in, we need to help. But for that, A, we would have had financial difficulties we were able to solve, but B, we were able to put money back into the community. We were able to put money into this building, which had a gap. It had a finance gap because you saw materials get more expensive. You saw inflation. You saw all kinds of things. Now that's all coming back down. And again, with the Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure law, we've shown that we can utilize those resources to help our folks, getting them into housing, getting daycare. Again, but for the federal government, very little of this is possible. So thank you. Thank you, and thanks to the president, the vice president, and our members of Congress, who, but for them, you wouldn't see a lot of the things you're going to see today.
Well, I mean, at this moment, what it teaches us is moments of gravest crisis, which we found ourselves in 2021, are also moments of greatest opportunity. History teaches that.
Yeah.
In the throes of the Depression, we passed Social Security, we passed a minimum wage. In the height of the Civil Rights Movement of the 60s, we passed the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, the Fair Housing Act, Medicare and Medicaid. We're in another moment of serious challenges in our democracy, in our social safety net, and this is one of these third moments right now of unprecedented investment that the fruits of which we're going to see literally for generations to come, just like we saw those investments in the 30s and the 60s. And that's, to me, what is exciting. And the key is collaboration at a federal, state, and local level. Your governor has been a gem to work with. The mayors in this state, I was with Mayor Duggan yesterday, I was with Mayor Hammoud yesterday, I was with County Executive Evans down in Wayne County yesterday. I was with the Oakland County Executive yesterday as well, for that matter. And in every community, what we're seeing across this state is smart investments, great partnership, and real results for real people. The Biden-Harris administration views everything through the lens of ordinary people. We can sit here and talk all day about this many millions of dollars of investment, or billions of dollars actually of investment, but it's not. It comes down to people. There are going to be dozens of youngsters who are going to have really good childcare here, and what the evidence shows is that 0 to 3 are the 3 most important years of your life. And when you have a safe start, a healthy start, that the life gets a lot easier. And that's what it's about. So we've seen investment after investment in affordable housing, investment after investment in clean water. I mean, the reality of the world here, Flint, Michigan is not the only city that experienced a water crisis. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris understand that. So we're replacing every lead pipe in America. And we've begun that process, because if you don't have access to clean water, you don't have access to good public health. We're making sure that everybody has access to internet, because internet is like water. It's an essential public good that should be affordable and accessible to everyone. And under the Biden-Harris administration and our Internet for All initiative, we're doing just that. And you can go on the Department of Commerce website right now, and you can see where the broadband deserts are. And there are a number of deserts still here in Michigan. And we're going to help people, because, by the way, if you want access to health care in certain corners of this state, you need access to high-speed internet, because telemedicine is how you access health care. So, that's, for me, what's exciting about this, is to make it real. It's not just dollars and cents, it's families and communities.